Hello everyone, I'm Malcolm Macintosh from RMIT University. The subject I'm going to address today is human resource management. I'm going to start by raising a couple of background issues around the field of human resource management before I go on and look in more detail at some of the detailed practices and processes which are undertaken in the typical workplace and which come under the heading of human resource management. So, the first background point I'm going to raise is a question. Who does human resource management? Now, I think that some of you watching this will immediately think of specialists who have the role of human resource manager, human resource assistant, personnel manager, or some title of that form. The reality is really far from that. In fact, every manager is responsible for human resource management if they have any responsibility for people. So there are very few managers, in fact, that don't have responsibility for people. Research and development managers have responsibility, after all, for the research and development technicians working within their team. So what does this mean for the overall management process? It means that all managers have to be actively engaged with a very systematic and well-based approach to managing people if they're going to contribute to the overall objectives of the organisation they're working in. That does mean, in most cases, that there is a need in the organisation for some specialists in the area of human resource management broadly. And those specialists might include people who have expert skills in recruitment and selection, or perhaps in the measurement of employee performance, or perhaps in another area, training and development, or occupational health, and many other areas. Specialist knowledge is an increasing feature of the employment profile of senior managers in many organisations. But apart from that, we have to recognise at all points that it is every manager who's responsible for utilising the specialist knowledge and focusing it on the performance of their employees, their work group. Second general point I want to make about human resource management relates to the overall task of the human resource management discipline or focus. When we look at any organisation, the fundamental problem of employing staff is to align the behaviour, attitudes and motivations of staff with those of the organisation. That really defines what managing the employment relationship is about. So what human resource management is essentially focusing on is creating that alignment, creating the kind of behaviour that contributes to the organisational outcomes, identifying the skills and developing the skills that will contribute to those outcomes, and rewarding people appropriately in relation to the tasks they're doing. So moulding that employment relationship is a very essential task. It's often described in the literature as building the psychological contract, an unwritten contract between employer or manager and the employee. Third aspect of human resource management I think we have to observe is the notion of strategic alignment. That is, an alignment of HR or human resource practices and processes with business outcomes or business objectives. This is often referred to as the notion of strategic fit, getting HR practices, processes and systems aligned to what the organisation is trying to do. It is these systems, processes and practices which help to build the behaviour we want, which contributes to the strategic objective. So strategic fit is quite a difficult but essential element in managing human resources. And the final point I think I should make about human resource management is that it works within a much larger environment than the business itself. As many of you would appreciate, we all work in a business environment which is regulated in one way or another by state or national governments, depending on where we're sitting, and those laws and the cultural expectations of the communities we work in all shape the way we deal with our employees. An obvious example of this is the way we deal with the integration of women into management jobs. Right through developed economies, there is a concern for getting the best skills into management, yet it is also observed that women tend to have a lower proportion of management jobs than men. The question is why. The community expectations are that women should have access to those jobs, and obviously the policy objectives of many governments is to get more women in because we're short of skills. So HR management is often very much focused on how we can bring women and men into these management roles according to their abilities rather than according to their gender.